Visual research on typography in the credits of modern films. Film credits have undergone significant evolution since the advent of cinema, reflecting not only technological progress, but also changes in aesthetics and narrative techniques. This study will examine how fonts in movie titles evolved from simple text cards to complex animated sequences, and how they became an integral part of cinematic storytelling. Hypothesis: the evolution of typography in film credits reflects not only technological progress and design changes, but also serves as an important tool for creating the atmosphere of the film and preparing the viewer for the upcoming narrative, becoming an integral part of the cinematic language. Introduction. The film's credits play an important role in making a first impression. They represent the business card of the film, where key information about the creators and content is displayed. The aesthetics of the titles, including the use of colors and fonts, affect the overall perception of the viewer. The titles help to create a recognizable style of the film, which can increase interest in it. Context and expectations. The information in the credits sets the tone of the film and helps the viewer understand what to expect from the plot. The emotional impact of typography. Typography not only conveys information, but also creates an emotional response. The choice of font can evoke certain associations in the viewer. Font style. For example, a strict font can cause serious perception, while a playful font will create an atmosphere of lightness and humor. Visual harmony. The elements of typography should be in harmony with the overall design of the poster or titles to create a holistic impression of the film. The connection between musical design and animation. Music and animation are closely related. Their combination enhances the perception of visual content and helps to convey emotions, which makes animation projects more attractive and memorable. Animation can exist without musical accompaniment, but most projects benefit from having it. Studies show that the absence of sound reduces video perception by 20%. Music not only complements the visual elements, but also creates an emotional background that affects how the viewer perceives what is happening on the screen. Proper use of sound can significantly enhance the emotional impact of video on the audience. Associations of cinema with sounds and music. Music from films often goes beyond cinema, becoming an independent cultural phenomenon. Movie soundtracks can live their own lives, evoking associations even outside the context of the film. People may remember the film when listening to its music on the radio or at concerts of symphony orchestras. The influence of Saul Bass on the art of titles. In the 1950s, graphic designer Saul Bass began to use innovative approaches, combining animation and typography, which became the basis for creating memorable titles. His work on films such as The Man with the Golden Hand and North Through the Northwest demonstrated how titles can be not only informative, but also emotionally intense. Analysis of innovative titles in Alfred Hitchcock films. I propose to consider the example of Psycho. The credits begin with sharp sound and visual associations that create an atmosphere of tension and foreshadow the upcoming events of the film. The letters move with jerks, disintegrating and reassembling, which emphasizes the dynamics and anxiety of the plot. This approach makes the viewer an active participant in what is happening from the very beginning of the film. Experimental approaches to typography in the author's cinema. Experimental approaches to typography in the author's cinema are an interesting combination of traditional and modern methods that allow you to create unique visual effects and enhance the emotional impact on the viewer. In the author's cinema, typography can be used to convey moods, focus on certain elements, or create a special atmosphere. In the author's cinema, typography can be used as a tool to create a unique visual style or as part of a narrative. For example, the choice of fonts and their arrangement may reflect the inner state of the characters or enhance the dramatic moments of the film. Such experiments make typography an integral part of the artistic expression of the director. Thus, experimental approaches to typography in the author's cinema open up new opportunities for self-expression and interaction with the audience, combining historical traditions and modern innovations. The impact of digital technology on the design of titles. Computer technology has had a huge impact on the design of titles in film and television, significantly expanding the creative possibilities of designers and increasing the visual appeal of titles. New animation features. With the advent of computer graphics, titles stopped being static. Now the text can dynamically appear on the screen using various effects: flashing, flickering, blurring, dissolving. This allows you to create more exciting and atmospheric opening sequences that set the tone for the entire work. Integration with video. Modern technologies allow you to seamlessly integrate the text of titles with the video sequence. Visualization inside letters. Video overlay on text, for example, American Horror Story, Cult. Interaction of text with video elements. Such techniques create an impressive 3D effect and enhance the viewer's immersion. Typographic experiments. Computer technology has given designers the freedom to experiment with typography, using non-standard fonts, dynamically change the size and thickness of letters. Applying effects like glow, shadows, textures. For example, the movie Split uses an ominous Helvetica of enormous size, which creates an atmosphere of horror. This makes it possible to implement the most daring creative ideas. Thus, computer technology has revolutionized the design of titles, turning them from simple text into a real work of art that sets the tone for the entire work. Modern title designers continue to develop the traditions laid down by the legendary Saul Bass, adapting them to new technologies and aesthetic trends. Modern title designers continue the traditions of Saul Bass, combining them with new technologies and the needs of the digital age. Their works not only open films, but also become independent works of art, attracting the attention of the audience and creating a unique atmosphere. Modern designers actively use 3D graphics and special effects, interactive elements, VR and AR technologies. That's why titles often become mini-films that tell a separate story or complement the main plot. Typography. Experiments with fonts and text animation have become a hallmark of modern title design. Examples of Bass-inspired works. The credits of the series Feud, Bette and Joan, 2017, are a vivid example of stylization for the aesthetics of Bass. Fan posters for Star Wars and Game of Thrones in the style of Bass. The practical part. As a practical work, I did a font animation inspired by the Star Wars universe. Trying to reflect the atmosphere of the Star Wars franchise, I have selected and modified fonts similar to the original font from the Star Wars titles. Using various sounds, I studied how music from famous movies affects a person's perception of an animated film and what expectations and emotions it causes in a person.